Africa Investor Today is proudly brought to you in association with Petro SA and Afrexim Bank. Good day and welcome to Africa Investor Today, where we bring you business news from Africa. We start today with a look at politics and economy news. African policymakers met in Ouagadougou on Friday to discuss climate change just 2 months before a critical UN summit where African countries are poised to seek billions in compensation for the effects of global warming. Experts say sub-Saharan Africa is one of the regions most affected by global warming, and the World Bank estimates that the developing world will suffer about 80% of the damage of climate change, despite accounting for only around 1/3 of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. At the 7th World Forum on Sustainable Development organized by the government of Burkina Faso, together with the UN and the AU, several African heads of state will meet key policymakers to discuss the opportunities climate change could offer for sustainable development. In other news, President Jacob Zuma of South Africa has arrived in Brazil for his first official state visit to the Latin American country. The president is expected, among other things, to discuss or to exchange ideas on combating social challenges such as poverty, unemployment, human settlement challenge with his counterpart, President Lula da Silva. Zuma is also expected to participate in a roundtable business meeting with more than 100 business executives in Sao Paulo, with the aim to increase trade and investment between both countries, and also deliver a keynote address at a luncheon following a soccer presentation on the 2010 World Cup. Other discussions are with regard to the relaunch of the South Africa-Brazil Joint Commission as a vehicle for servicing bilateral relations. They will also explore possible trilateral cooperation between South Africa and Brazil in Africa and Latin America. We bring you more banking and finance news after this short break. Do stay with us.
Redefining energy means redefining life. At the Petroleum, Oil and Gas Corporation of South Africa, our commitment to greater innovation and greener fuels has made us pioneers in the field of gas-to-liquids technology. It has also earned us worldwide recognition for producing the cleanest fuels through environmentally friendly processes. That's how we've become the international leader in diesel technology. Through pure innovation, pure energy, pure brilliance.
In banking and finance news, the Central Bank of Nigeria has unfolded plans to review the operational guidelines of microfinance banks in order to strengthen their operational capacity. CBN Senior Manager Eze Okori stated this at the inauguration of the Association of Microfinance Banks in Rivers State in Port Harcourt last week. Okori explained that the CBN was unhappy with state governments over their poor showing in contributing to the microcredit fund, which was to be 1% set aside from their yearly budgets. According to him, only 12 states and the Abuja Federal Capital Territory had contributed to the MCF, with Lagos and Osun states having already advanced 620 million naira and 99.8 million to farmers and the active poor. To this end, the CBN, according to him, is desirous to strengthen the microfinance institutions to enable them to advance microcredits to the rural downtrodden. News from South Africa, the Absa Group's investment banking arm plans to secondary list its ETF New Gold in Botswana in early 2010 to test investor appetite as it expands in Africa. Vladimir Nikalkovic, head of EFTs and index products at Absa Capital, says the unit also planned to launch new ETFs and products in its core South African market as more investors ditch equities and seek safe haven assets in a global downturn. ETFs, which are listed and traded on a securities exchange, track an index, sector or commodity and offer medium to long-term investment returns with relatively little risk. New Gold is the largest ETF in South Africa and invests directly in gold with around 52.5 tons of gold bullion in assets. Its value has soared as gold prices hit record highs. On to some companies and markets news, but we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Afrexim Bank is Africa's leading trade finance bank, an organization dedicated to promoting African trade through credit, risk-bearing and advisory services. We pride ourselves on having local presence throughout the continent and are committed to extending our award-winning trade and project finance programs to unlock private sector development continent-wide. We invite you to become a part of our vision for a strong Africa in a changing world. If you trade within Africa, contact us to support you.
some companies and markets news. Indian state-run telecom Mahagar Telephone Nigam is looking to move ahead with a consortium bid for Kuwait Telecom Zain and is also interested in buying a stake in Zambian telecom firm Zamtel. The chairman of MTNL and another state-run telecom Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited would join a consortium with Indian firm Vavasi and a Malaysian investor to buy a 46% stake in Zain, being sold by a group including Kuwaiti family conglomerate, the Karafi Group. The state-run firms would also need approvals from different ministries and the cabinet for a deal to be completed. MTNL had expressed interest in buying a stake in Zamtel, which the Zambian government plans to sell up to 75% of as part of a privatization drive. And East Africa Portland Cement, Kenya's second largest cement maker, plans to issue a convertible bond to raise funds to fully hedge a yen-denominated loan that has reduced its profit. The company obtained a 1.7 billion shilling yen-dominated loan in 1996 to expand its production capacity. Due to the strengthening of the yen, by last year that amount amounted to 3.8 billion shillings. We're going to take a short break. Infrastructure news up next.
Africa Investor, the leading African investment magazine, is essential reading for investors in Africa, filled with the very latest in Pan-African investment and finance news. In addition, log on to africa-investor.com to find out more about our exciting capital market, infrastructure and tourism events, and our long-standing investable Africa Investor 100 Index series, which tracks over $600 billion of African equities. Doing business in Africa, you can't afford to be without Africa Investor.
And in some infrastructure news, cash flush Asian investors are scrambling to carve up Africa's telecom market and steal a march on their Western competitors, whose appetite for risk has been bruised by the effects of the global recession. Reports this week that an Indian-led consortium was in the race to acquire significant stake in Kuwait-based Zain a few days after MTN and Bharti Airtel dumped a 23 billion merger deal, showed that investor interest has shifted from European telecoms operators to Asian investors with a penchant for taking risks. Major European operators in Africa are Vodafone and France's Orange. Vivendi, the French telecoms to media group that this year showed interest in Zain, is said to be looking elsewhere, especially Latin America. Already, MTN, Africa's largest cell phone operator by subscriber numbers, has been courted by two Indian companies, Bharti and Reliance Communications, although both attempts stumbled over regulatory and ownership hurdles. And Libyan flag carrier Arab Libyan Airlines has signed a deal with Airbus subsidiary On Air to enable its passengers to use mobile phones, short text messages and internet, the Tripoli-based company said last week. The airline revealed that the accord on mobile phones, text messages and internet services would help improve services to our passengers or to their passengers, adding that the telecom services on its planes would start next September. The statement, carried by the Libyan state news agency Jana, gave no financial details for the deal, which was reached on the sidelines of Libya's air show staged at Matigua Airport on the outskirts of Tripoli. On Air is owned by airlines industry IT services group SITA and Airbus. And that's how we come to the end of today's bulletin. Remember to log on to africa-investor.com for more details on these and other stories. From us here, enjoy the rest of the day. Goodbye.
Africa Investor Today is proudly brought to you in association with Petro SA and Afrexim Bank.